The training program for New Zealand Antarctic parties is held annually at Waihuru Military Camp and on the steep slopes of nearby Mount Ruapehu. Here the men receive their introduction to living and working in Antarctica. Of first importance is understanding the correct use of clothing that's issued. Frostbite strikes quickly. A man's life can depend on being correctly and adequately clothed. Therefore, it's essential that new expeditioners pay close attention to the expert advice being given. Fire is still the greatest single hazard in Antarctica. This is due to the combination of an exceptionally dry climate and prevalent high winds, with man's necessary use of various types of fuel-burning heaters and electrically operated equipment. Once it has a hold, fire can be disastrous. The cold temperatures prohibit the use of many normal methods of fire control. Large quantities of water, for instance, are not obtainable. It's essential that all measures be taken to prevent fire and fight it. The men are instructed in fighting various types of fires using proven equipment similar to the type provided at Scot Base. Smoke or fumes can cause suffocation. Mouth-to-mouth resuscitation may be necessary. Experienced men lecture on the do's and don'ts of living and surviving in Antarctica. Field work continues to play an important part of the operations. Specially constructed tents are erected. Operating methods and procedures of radio communication are fully shown using Antarctic field radio. Bob Thompson and Ken McBride of Antarctic Division watch as the men are split into small groups to receive instruction in snow and ice craft. This expert instruction is given by the experienced men who are members of the field parties for the approaching season. Following further specialized training in their particular fields, men are quartered at the RNZAF base at Wigram when awaiting their scheduled flight to Antarctica. Clothing is sorted out for storage in the aircraft, and survival clothing is packed in a light bag to be kept with each man during the flight. US Navy and RNZAF aircraft leave from Christchurch International Airport. Flights can take from 7 to 10 hours. The men report to the deep freeze counter for checking and weighing in. Maximum allowable baggage weights must be strictly observed. Excess baggage may have to await alternative transport. Boarding the aircraft takes some time with a full complement of passengers, but soon all is ready for takeoff. Once aloft, ditching instructions are given and the use of survival equipment demonstrated. In addition to the Super Constellation, Hercules C-130 aircraft are also used to transport personnel between New Zealand and Antarctica. On arrival at Williams Field, 4 miles south of Scot Base, new arrivals are greeted by personnel from Scot Base. Baggage is loaded into a small sledge hauled by a Swedish-built snow track. These vehicles are normally used for transport to Scot Base. Mount Erebus dominates Ross Island, where on the southern tip of Pram Point lies Scot Base. White Island and the pressure ridges of the McMurdo ice shelf are the main features to be seen south from the base. The prefabricated huts at Scot Base are interconnected with covered ways. From the laboratory to the garage, men are able to walk with ease, completely sheltered from cold, winds and blizzards. The hangar, now used as a bulk store, is the only large building not included in the covered ways system. Scot Base was originally built here in January 1957 under the supervision of experts from Ministry of Works. Additions and improvements in subsequent seasons have increased the number of main base buildings from 7 to 11. The newcomers arrive at the front of the base. They're taken inside and along the covered way to E Hut, the administration building, where they are met by the leader. A day at Scot Base commences with being woken by the man on night watch duty. Then, down to the ablution block for a wash. Remembering not to waste water. Water is difficult to make in Antarctica, but cleanliness is still important. Each hut is equipped with a cold porch to assist in retaining the warm air and for fire safety. Entering the mess hut through the cold porch, we find breakfast is prepared. Just a matter of help yourself. And it seems these people are making the most of it. Large neoprene bladder tanks and metal bulk fuel tanks store the diesel oil. Lifeblood of the 65 kilowatt generators that supply electric power for the many varied requirements of the base. The heat produced in the generator radiators is air circulated through ducting to neighboring rooms. Thus enabling work to be done in warm comfort of 60 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures. Heat exchangers in the exhaust system of the generators and a diesel burning boiler combine to heat water which is piped to heat snow melters, and also provide hot water for washing. By all these methods, fullest possible use is made of all the readily available sources of heat. Electrically controlled oil-burning heaters are located in the cold porch of each hut. These are refueled and checked regularly. The warm air is circulated via ducting through the rooms of each hut. Stale air is expelled and a proportion of fresh air drawn in from outside. Sledges require regular attention, and so do the dogs that pull them. Carefully weighed portions of seal meat or pemmican must be fed to these huskies to keep them in top form for travel and in good condition to survive the rigors of Antarctica. Once harnessed, the dogs are eager to move off.
Right up there, Johnny.
And once on the run, make an impressive sight from all angles.
Right up there, right away. That's the boy. Right up there.
In recent years, mechanical means of transport has largely displaced the popular dog teams. Numerous types of vehicles are necessary to meet varying requirements and conditions of Antarctic travel. The Swedish-built Snow Track is one of the most successful over-snow vehicles in use. motor toboggan is more popularly known as the tin dog. Its simple and reliable operation, combined with good speed and traction, has now made it the choice of small field parties covering long distances. This snowcat was one of those used in Fuchs' crossing of Antarctica. It now plays an important part in the transport requirement at Scot Base. Regular maintenance of all vehicles is carried out in the well-equipped workshop. The study of meteorology is important to scientific research and also provides assistance to all outside operations. Data is taken and recorded by personnel outside and also recorded on instruments inside the laboratory. The laboratory is well equipped. Most of the instruments record data necessary in the study of the various geophysical sciences. Strange as it may seem, the making or obtaining of fresh water is one of the greatest problems encountered when living in Antarctica. The most common method is to melt ice or snow. This is the method used at Scot Base, but requires a considerable amount of tough work to keep the snow melters supplied with large ice blocks. These blocks are obtained by picking, drilling, power sawing, any way at all that brings results. Then the blocks are loaded into a sledge and towed back to Scot Base. Automatic fire detectors fitted to the ceilings of the huts and manual switching methods are integrated to operate alarms and indicators on the central fire detector board in the mess hut. From here, the location of the fire is transmitted through the base. Escape hatches are provided in all huts as an additional and ready means of escape. During winter in particular, but at all times following snow or blizzards, it's essential that doorways and hatches be cleared of drift snow, thus making an escape possible. Smoke and fumes can hinder firefighting or rescue operations. The donning of breathing apparatus may be necessary. It's essential that all people accommodated at Scot Base become fire conscious. Prevention is much simpler and effective than any cure in Antarctica, but fire drills are called for regularly. A thorough search of the hut is made to ensure there are no victims. All rescued people are taken to where they can breathe fresh air as soon as possible. Perhaps the most important man at Scot Base is the cook, and essential to his requirements are good food, adequate storage, and a good stove for cooking and baking. Rubbish disposal is a most essential but not easy task. Multi-wall bags are used for this purpose and conveyed by trailer and tractor to the local dump. This usually breaks up annually and the rubbish goes to sea or is pushed through the tide crack in the ice. A heated drain provides the means for disposing of liquid waste. Full postal facilities are provided by the office at Scot Base. Thousands of stamps are sold annually, not only for normal postal requirements, but also the philatelists and souvenir hunters. Radio-telephone communication with all parts of the world can be made from Scot Base. Americans, too, use this New Zealand facility extensively. Radio is the only method of communicating with the field parties and is essential to the safety and successful operation of these remote groups. Mount Erebus is the most active volcano in Antarctica. The nearby Ross Sea and McMurdo ice shelf are playgrounds for hundreds of seals. But amongst these seal holes and the ridges of pressure-formed ice lurks danger for man. All looks well on the surface, but often this is only a thin layer hiding crevasses and holes. An unwary or ill-equipped person could easily fall through to the sea below. A rescue party here demonstrates a crevasse rescue operation. The gear is hauled to the accident area by man-hauled sledge. The victim is trapped several feet below the surface. The rescue team ropes up, then lowers a rope into the crevasse. The victim, fortunately, doesn't appear to be seriously injured and is able to attach himself to the rope, and slowly but surely climbs to safety. Meanwhile, on the surface, the rescuers hold the ropes fast. Any slip now could be disastrous. Finally, the rescued man is pulled clear, placed on the sledge and hauled to the waiting vehicle. The large Nodwell vehicle transports the injured man back to Scot Base. He is transferred to the Land Rover for fast transport over the formed road that links the New Zealand base with the American base at McMurdo, just 2 miles away. McMurdo Station is a large logistic base, the main United States base in Antarctica. Over 1,000 men live here during the summer, and some 250 winter over. Most of these are Navy men who are here to support the US scientists at the various bases and in their field operations. The full facilities of the newly completed hospital at McMurdo have been made available for use by the New Zealanders. X-ray equipment, an operating theatre and a dental surgery are included in this well-equipped building. When work is over for the day at Scot Base, men relax and enjoy themselves in the mess hut. Serious discussions to light-hearted yarns are usually the main topics. But often some musical instrument is produced and a good old sing-song develops. Now it's midnight. Only the night watchman remains up and alert. The sun dips low on the southern horizon, marking the end of another Antarctic day at Scot Base.